Hi, my name is Claire Ward, and I am an adjunct professor at Missouri Baptist University. I work very heavily with theater students. I teach a lot of them in my dance classes. I also work with them through choreographing their musicals throughout the season. I also train actors one-on-one on how to build awareness with their bodies throughout their scenes and throughout all of the work that they do. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through a series of warm-ups that I give to these students, whether it's before rehearsal or maybe beginning of class, if I'm giving them a dance class, even before a performance. So these are the things that I take them through. These exercises can be done at home over Zoom, which is great. They can be done in a very small space, or they can be done as a group. So I'm going to take us through the first thing that I give them, which is building awareness of themselves as an individual and ways that they can realize how much space they take up on stage and they know what parts of their bodies are doing throughout their art form. And then I'm going to take us into something that I would do with a group of people. Again, we can do the group exercises and group movements over Zoom just as easily. It's a little bit different, but we can do it just as easily in a virtual format. So we're going to start just standing up in space. We're going to go through every part of our body and do just a simple isolation. So standing nice and tall, your legs are going to be a little bit wider than hip width apart in a nice parallel stance, which means that our toes are facing the front. We're going to start with really easy head motion, so dropping our chin all the way down, lifting our eyes up, and we're going to do this a couple times. And as we do this isolation, we're not going to let anything else in our body move. So everything is nice and steady. Then we're going to do the same thing to the side, so sending our eyes side to side. And again, everything else in my body is nice and stable. So I'm going to do this just a couple times. Then I'm going to start doing head circles. And as I do this, I tell all of my actors to slowly let the rest of their body get involved with that movement so that we slowly start to incorporate the whole body. So you'll notice I started with my head, but now my whole body is going to react. And already we're developing that feeling of how much space our body can take up. So we do circles that way, then we're going to go the other way. So head circles the other way. And as we continue with those head circles, my whole body is going to start reacting. So my shoulders are going to react. Then maybe my chest is going to react. Then my knees are going to start bending and I'm making the circle even bigger. And as I do this, I try to tell them, really let your chin drop so your whole body is relaxing forward in that circle. It's a really nice relaxing feeling for them, and it's really healthy for their back, especially if they're performing on a very hard stage. Doing nice movements like this are a really good way to warm up those joints in their body. So after I finish those circles with them, I go into a series of shoulder rolls. So doing this, my arms are going to be down first. I start with a small roll, then I get a little bit bigger. I'm going to use my elbows. Then I get a little bit bigger with that circle. Then the final one, I'm going to reach all the way up and expand my fingers and then come down. So something that I talk to them a lot about is being very aware of what your hands are doing. So when we're doing this, I tell them to keep their hands really solid and flat for the first one. Second one, I do fists. The third one, I do fists. And then the last one, I reach my hands up and bring them down. So again, that's really important just so they can start to connect to what their hands are doing in space, okay? So after I do that, I'm going to then go into an opposition exercise. So I do this one just to get them the feeling of reaching through their leg and through their arm. So I'm gonna reach this foot down, reach this arm up, reach and stretch. Then I stretch to the other side, reach and stretch, then to the other side, reach and stretch, then to the other side, reach and stretch. Then I'm going to reach both arms up, reach forward, and then relax. So right in that movement, that little series that I'm doing, I'm teaching opposition, reaching through my hands. My hands are really, really energized. I'm reaching down, opposition down and up, switching, reaching down and up. Again, reaching down and up, like I'm gonna go up and grab something. Reaching down and up. Then I reach both arms up like I'm reaching for the sky. Then I stretch forward like I'm gonna grab something in front of me. And then I relax it. Yes, so it's teaching them opposition energization, and at the very end, we're just letting it all go. And I'm constantly telling them throughout all of this to focus on their breathing, which is the next thing I do. So after the opposition exercise, I go into a breathing exercise. So we're gonna start with our arms down, and we're gonna take a deep breath in and reach our arms up. Then we exhale and drop our chin. Inhale up. Exhale, relax down. And one thing I love to tell actors, and they always do it, is to try and be very audible in your breath, especially if we're virtual, because inhaling and exhaling together as a group helps us move as a group, and it helps us already start to connect, even though this is individual movement that we're doing. So I like to tell them, I'd love to hear your inhale, let me hear your exhale. So again, we inhale through our nose, we exhale through our mouth. We inhale through our nose, exhale through our mouth. So I do that a couple times because it feels really, really good. And the last thing that I do in this little warm-up is I have them drop their chin, relax all the way down to the floor as far as they can reach. Some actors aren't very flexible, and that's okay. They can just kind of live here. And what I do is I tell them to shake their head and get all of the tension out of their head, out of their shoulders. For me, whenever I work with dancers or actors, we tend to pull a lot of tension up in our neck, up in our shoulders. So when I tell them to do this relaxed position, which I like to call the monkey position or the rag doll position, I tell them check in with your head and neck. Try to loosen it up. Try to get rid of any tension you have about the rehearsal, about your day, about the show. That's their chance to just let it all go. So we fall forward. I say shake your head yes and no, and then we swing side to side. And as we do this, I tell them to bend their knees and just let their arms be free, kind of like a monkey. And we just swing side to side. And then I tell them to slowly roll up and continue to sway until we finish. And that's the end of that first warm-up that I do. So I'm now going to take you through this warm-up with some music. I like to pick something that's really relaxed since we're trying to really focus internally. And then the second warm-up that I do as a group is a little bit more upbeat. So I'm going to take us through just this, and then I'll pause this and go to the next one. So again, we're going to start standing. Our legs are going to be parallel. And we're going to start with isolating our head. So drop, down, and up, and down, and up, and down, and up, and down, and up, side to side, side, and side, and side, and side. Now circles to the right. Now as we do these circles, we're going to start to let the rest of our body react. Maybe our shoulders, then our chest, then our knees, then our whole body drops. Good, then we go the other way, hands to the other way. To drop with our chest. Then our whole body drops. Good. Then we do our shoulder roll. Small roll and middle and a little bit higher. I'm fisting my hands and all the way up, reaching those fingers a little bit faster. Small. And bigger, all the way up, again, small, middle, higher. Now I do my opposition, reach, and reach, and reach, and reach, reach both arms up, reaching forward, and relax. Other side, opposition, really stretching, reach, 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 both arms up, reaching forward, stretch. So we just relax forward, shake our head, get tension out of our shoulders. Then we start to sway side to side. And then we very slowly roll up and finish. Nice. So that's the end of the first little bit that I do with them. Once we have that warm and we've got our bodies moving and we're starting to breathe as a unit, even over Zoom or even virtually, once we have that connection as a group, I then pick up the tempo a little bit and get our heart rate moving. And then once I do that, we're ready to get going for class or rehearsal or whatever we have. So for this, I do a couple just clapping steps that are pretty simplistic, pretty easy to follow, but it gets their heart rate going. So the steps that I do with them for this, the first one is just called a step clap. So we're gonna step to the side and clap. Step and clap. And I just do that together with them so we can just start feeling the music, getting hyped up for class or for rehearsal. Then I might tell them to lift their arms up. Step, clap, step, clap, step, clap. Great. After that, I'll go into a little bit more of a complex step, like a step back step clap, which means I step to the side, I take my leg to the back, then I step to the side and I clap. I step and back and step and clap and a step, back, step, clap, step, back, step, clap. So that'll be another one that I kind of put in there. One more that I love to stick in because it builds awareness of our hands in space, especially as a group, is a step that I call a slide step. So I take my hands and I reach, slide, and energy through my fingers, and I pull together step. Slide, step, slide, step, slide, step. So those are the three that I usually put in there. Sometimes dancers might get confused. If they don't know the steps yet, I usually just say, keep going. It's just a time to bring us together as a group. So I'm gonna give you a little example of what this might look like for me. Sometimes if I sense that the actors are getting tired, I might take a little break in there and do some breathing with them and then pull us all back. So I'll give a little example of that. So again, this one, I usually use something that's a little bit more up to tempo, probably a song that they know. So we go, step, clap, step, clap, step. Just bringing us, listening to the beat together. Faster. Then I might lift our arms up, step. Maybe step, clap again, step. Step, back, step, clap, step. Back, step, clap, and step. Back, then slide, step, and slide, step, slide. Then I always finish with a breath, up, and down. So that's usually how my warm-up is. It usually takes about, putting it together, 5 to 8 minutes, but it makes a big difference with how the actors work. It helps them build awareness of their bodies, and above that, it brings them together as a whole cast or a team before we get started. So thank you for watching this video, and I might see you next time in another one.